we are going to be looking at the themes, the subject matter, the literary devices used in this play, and the characters in this play today. In our previous video, we have discussed the plot analysis of the play King Lear by William Shakespeare. So today we look at the themes, the subject matter, the characters, and some of the devices used in the play. If you have not watched the first video, try as much as possible to locate it in the channel, watch it, then subscribe and click the notification bell so that you will be notified anytime new video is uploaded. So for the benefit of those who have not watched the first one, the play King Lear is about a major character, a tragic hero called King Lear, the king of Britain, who has three daughters. We have Goneril, Regan, and Cordelia. And in an attempt to know how much the daughters loves him, he decided to tell them to profess their love for him. While Goneril, the first daughter, professed her love for the father and was given part of the kingdom, and the second daughter, Regan, also professed her love for the father and was given another part of the kingdom. So the third daughter, Cordelia, when the father called upon her to profess her love for him, she decided that her love for the father cannot be expressed by words. That is, the love she has for the father is not something that can be quantified using words. It cannot be defined, described using words. And the father misunderstood her and banished her from the kingdom. Fortunately for her, she got married to the King of France. Before then, two people were suitors for her. We have the King of Burgundy and King of France. But King of Burgundy rejected her when the father disinherited Cordelia. And the King of France married her because of her honesty. So the play is a very interesting play. What happened at the end of the play was that King Lear was full of regret because he has taken a very foolish decision. The two daughters did not love him. Rather, it was Cordelia that loves him. And then Cordelia now, with the armies of France, tried to fight the armies of Albany, led by Goneril and Edmund. But unfortunately, the armies of France were defeated. Cordelia was captured and executed. So at the end of the play, King Lear was carrying the dead body of Cordelia and was full of regret, crying and regretting dividing his kingdom for the two daughters that do not love him. So we are going to be looking at the themes. Then we have a lot of themes in the play. One of the themes is the theme of age. Yes, age is very prominent in the play. We have the theme of aging in this play because at the beginning of the play, one of the things that made King Lear to divide his kingdom was because he was getting old, and he believes that he has to settle his progenitors before dying. So he divided the kingdoms among the three daughters, but unfortunately Cordelia was disinherited, so the two daughters were the one that shared the kingdom. So, but as he grew much older than when he divided the kingdom, we saw that he began to realize that he has made a serious, silly mistake by giving the kingdom to the two daughters. And his realization did not yield much fruits because the two daughters even disinherited King Lear himself of his entourage. He has about 20 entourage, and Goneril, the first daughter, claimed that the entourage were too much for the father, and as a result of that, she decided to remove the entourage, and the only person that was following King Lear around was the character called Fool. So aging was very prominent, and at the same time, Gloucester, also because of his age, he was deceived by his son, illegitimate son Edmund, and he also disinherited the legitimate son Edgar. And at the same time, we saw age in the life of Kent also. Kent was banished because he was supporting Cordelia. And we saw later that when Kent was banished, he returned with a change name called Caius. And later, he revealed his true identity to King Lear. And I believe the reason why King Lear did not even know him when he came as Caius was because of the aging, because of his age. He was full of age, and at the same time full of depression and regret. So let's look at another one. We'll have the theme of family relation. Yes, family relation is very prominent in the play, and it also goes hand in hand with family loyalty. That is the reason why King Lear divided the kingdom for the two daughters was because of their loyalty to him, or he assumed that they were loyal to him. And that was the reason also that he disinherited Cordelia, because he thought Cordelia was not loyal to him. Rather, Cordelia was being dishonest and at the same time not loving the father. But eventually he realized later that it was only Cordelia that loves him among the daughters. So the relationship between the father and the two daughters, or the pretense of the two daughters that made their father believe that they were in good relationship with him, made the father to share the kingdoms for them. So let's look at another theme in the play. We have the theme of madness. Who was mad in the play? The King Lear by William Shakespeare. We saw that King Lear himself was having a kind of mental disorder as a result of regret, depression, and mourning himself for making such kind of silly mistake. Now, in Shakespearean play, the tragic hero must have a flaw that will bring him down to the base. And so in this play, we saw that the decision of the king was one of his tragic flaw. And you know, Shakespearean play, the tragic hero, one of his characteristics that he must be somebody that is highly placed in the society. And we saw that the King Lear was highly placed. But what comes with madness was that regret and depression for making such silly mistake, for making such mistake of sharing his kingdom even before his death for his two daughters and banishing Cordelia out of the kingdom of Britain. So he was later living in a village with Edgar, where Edgar was living, hiding himself. And unfortunately, you saw that a king who was living in a kingdom, who has a kingdom, who has a lot of entourage, and one of the prominent king in the earth at that time, began to live in a very remote village, not even being cared for, but was being maltreated by the daughters and even the populace because of decisions he took. So it resulted to madness, mental disorder, a lot of mental trauma that happened to him in the play. Also, Edgar also have mental trauma. Why? Because his father's illegitimate son, Edmund, lied against him, laid allegations on him, and he was banished and disinherited by his father, Gloucester. So you can see that when you did not do something wrong, and then somebody laid allegation on you to the extent of being banished and disinherited by your father, it can cause a lot of mental trauma. So let's look at another one, significance of order. Yes, Lear did not follow order of things, because inheritance is given to children mostly when the father is late. Even you can divide it maybe using will, or even telling the people, telling the chiefs that, okay, when you die, this is what should be given to this daughter, to another daughter, to another daughter. But King Lear did not do such. He did not follow the order of things, order of nature. He decided to share the kingdom even before his death. And not that maybe a priest or a prophet or a witch told him that he's going to die. He just woke up and decided to share the kingdom because he believes he's aging and death can come at any time. And at the same time, it's as a result of greediness because he does not want any other family to ascend the throne of the kingdom of Britain. So he shared it among the two daughters he believes were loyal to him before even his death. And we can see that he suffered a lot. The daughters even died. Goneri killed Regan later because of jealousy for Edmund. And we also saw that even Goneri was killed, and then Cordelia was executed by the army of Albany. So we saw that Edgar was left to take care of the kingdom at the end of the play. Then King Lear was regretting, a lot of regret. He lost order. He did not follow order, and the consequence of it was severe and fatal. So let's look at another one, the theme of loyalty. Yeah, in this play, King Lear by Shakespeare, one of the things that determine your relationship or your closeness to the king is loyalty. No matter how you are, either biologically related to King Lear and you are not loyal to him, you will be booted out of the kingdom. And that was what happened to Cordelia because the father assumed she was not loyal to him. And at the same time, Kent was banished. Why? Because King Lear thought that Kent was not loyal to him. And at the same time, Edgar was banished by the father Gloucester because he believes Edgar was not loyal to him. Rather, it was the illegitimate son that was loyal to him. But all were forced, because those who were loyal and concerned about the kingdom were banished away, and those who were after their own selfish interests were handed over the kingdom. And that was why the kingdom totally collapsed in the presence of King Lear, and he lives to regret it. So loyalty is one of the prominent criteria for getting close to the king or having any position or any inheritance in the kingdom of Britain in this play. So we have another theme which is called justice. Was there justice in the play? Was there nemesis in the play? Yes, of course. Because the way Lear treated Cordelia, he was also treated same way by his two daughters. First, Goneri told King Lear that having 20 retinue, 20 entourage is too much for him. And what did Goneri did? He disinherited the father by taking away the entourage. And that was exactly what Lear did to Cordelia. He disinherited Cordelia of the inheritance that she is entitled to. So you can see that, and at the same time, the way she treated Cordelia was not good. It was highly unfair, and several people in the play were not comfortable with Lear's decision. And at the same time, his two daughters, Goneri and Regan, also maltreated him severely. Did not treat him well, did not treat him as a father, did not treat him as a king. They treated him as rather somebody who is a slave, in an unwanted slave for that matter. So that was how they treated him. And we saw in the play that he totally lost it because his attempt to reclaim the kingdom was met with fierce battle between the France army and the Albany army, in which the France army, who were fighting for him to return to and reclaim the kingdom, were defeated. So what he did to Cordelia was eventually done to him. So let's look at appearance and reality. So appearance and reality is also another major theme in the play. What happened is that appearance and reality are opposite each other in this play. What appears is not the real. Goneri and Regan appears to love their father by professing their love, but in reality, they do not love the father at all. Rather, they hated the father and wished to maltreat the father. At the same time, we saw that Gloucester, Edmund, the illegitimate son, appears to love Gloucester, the father, and then planned and schemed the legitimate son Edgar away from inheritance. But in reality, Edmund did not love Gloucester at all. So the appearance is totally an opposite to the reality in the play. Now look at this compassion. Was there compassion in the play at all? And who have compassion on the other? Yes, we saw that the king of France had compassion on Cordelia when the father disinherited and banished her. At the same time, Kent had compassion. Kent was compassionate with the sufferings and the treatment of Cordelia. Then Cordelia herself also was compassionate with the father's issues because the father was suffering, and it was Cordelia that led the army of France to go and fight and reclaim the kingdoms for the father. So she was also compassionate with the sufferings of the father, and that was why she decided to fight and get the kingdoms for the father. But unfortunately, she lost her life, and then uh, the armies of France were defeated. So these are the major themes in the play. In our next video, we are going to be discussing the characters and the characterization, the characters in the play and the roles that each character play. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell so that you can get the full video of all that you need in this play, King Lear. In that video, we will discuss extensively each character and what each character represents and symbolize. So make sure you subscribe and click the notification bell to get notified when the new video will be uploaded, and it will be uploaded very soon. So make sure you click the notification bell after subscribing. Thank you.